Before we enter a community, most of the project has already been decided. The problem, the solution, even what success looks like. So this week's question asks us to pause right there. It asks, what assumptions about community needs guide this design? Are they based on dialogue and evidence or on donor expectations? This isn't a neutral question. It's asking, who decided what the problem is? What evidence are we actually using? And whose voices were left out of the process? I want to share an example with you. Someone once shared a story about a project they'd worked on years ago in Bangladesh. The aim was to move women out of sex work. So the organisation designed a program to transition women into garment factory work. On paper, it looked like an improvement. They were suggesting that there was safer work, more stable income, and therefore better outcomes. But that assumption didn't hold because it was based more on a moral framing of better work than on lived reality. Garment factories carry their own risks: fire, abuse, unsafe working conditions. This wasn't safer, it was a different kind of risk. The factory wages were also lower, and so families had to make up that difference. And in many cases, that meant pulling children out of school and sending them to work in those same factories. So a project designed to protect women ended up deepening economic pressure and shifting harm onto their children. That's what unchecked assumptions can do, because no one had stopped to ask, what do the women actually need? What would improve their lives on their terms? What risks might this create? Instead, the design was shaped by an external idea of what was better. And this is where the second part of the question matters. Are our assumptions based on dialogue and evidence? Meaning, have we actually listened deeply and early enough to shape the design? Or are they based on donor expectations, on what is fundable, measurable, or morally legible within the system? Because these things are not the same thing. In this pre-engagement phase, this might be the last real moment to shift that, to interrogate what we think we know before it becomes locked into implementation. So this week, sit with it. What assumptions about community needs are guiding this design? And who do those assumptions really serve? Sit with these questions, let them shape how you practice, and I'll see you next week.